From people vanishing without a trace to strange glitches that make no sense. These moments make you wonder, is something off with our world? And the answer is in this video, so stay tuned. A clip from a 90s event was recently shared online, but there's something in it that doesn't sit right. While the crowd is clapping and cheering, one old woman stands out. She claps, then suddenly freezes mid-action. Her expression goes blank, almost like she's stuck, like a robot glitching or a clone malfunctioning. But hold on, tech like that is from today, right? So how did something so strange show up in the 90s? Now that's the part no one can explain. Real-life GTA. Watching this clip feels like seeing a scene straight out of GTA, Grand Theft Auto. One evening, as people were heading home from work, something weird caught everyone's eye. A man was running on the roadside, but not moving an inch. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what was happening. He was stuck in place, legs running full speed, like some glitch had frozen him mid-motion. The strangest part? He didn't even realize it. And after a few seconds, the glitch passed, and he continued running normally, just like that, as if nothing had happened. Frozen ship. This video was shared by an unknown source and left viewers completely puzzled. A massive spaceship floating just above the ground, not flying up, not falling down, just stuck, hovering in place, like it's frozen in time. Many people are seen around it, all looking up in shock, and online, opinions went wild. Some believed it was a glitch in the universe, that it got stuck between dimensions. Others said it had to be some kind of trick or illusion. Disappearance glitch. A couple was sitting outside a cafe, just relaxing like anyone else. But then, something totally unusual happened. They suddenly vanished. Gone. Completely disappeared like they were never even there. People nearby were shocked and confused, looking around, trying to understand what just happened. 1 second they existed, the next, nothing. I don't think the couple was mysterious. Maybe it was a glitch in the Matrix, a small error, and they slipped out of reality. Reptile score. After watching this, there's no doubt left. Reptilians are among us, and we don't even realize it. And the proof didn't come from a secret lab or hidden footage. It happened during a regular basketball match. A player jumped to score, ball in hand. But when the ball was about to slip from his grip, his hand stretched longer, wider, and for a few seconds, it didn't look human at all. It looked like a reptile's hand. He grabbed the ball midair and scored. No one noticed. Everything went on like nothing ever happened. Strange car. It was just another rainy evening, and a woman was heading home until something in the middle of the road made her stop cold. Right there, a car was stuck in a position that made no sense. The front part touched the ground, but the back was lifted high, hanging in the air like some invisible force was holding it. It wasn't moving, it wasn't falling, it just was. Stranger still, there was no one inside. It looked less like a car crash and more like it had been dropped there out of thin air. A teleportation glitch? Sure felt like it. Metro surprise. This clip will shock you. Just watch till the end. A man was heading to work, riding a metro train like any normal day. But then he noticed something strange. A strange figure stuck to the outside of the train door. At first, it just looked like a blur in the dark tunnel. But when the train came above ground, the sunlight revealed it clearly. It wasn't a shadow. And when the train stopped at the station, the twist hit. This figure was actually a young guy performing a stunt. He had clung to the outside of the train the entire ride. Unbelievable, right? Mirror twin. While recording her dance moves, something strange happened with this girl. Behind her was a mirror, but her reflection wasn't acting normal. It wasn't following her in sync. Instead, the glimpse inside the mirror looked right at her, almost like there was a twin inside, copying her every move. She quickly sensed something was off. Without wasting a second, she stopped and left the room. What would you do in this situation? Let me know in the comments. Mysterious teeth. Tupac, not real? It sounds wild, right? But watch this. During a casual conversation with a reporter, Tupac's smile seemed a little off. When he showed his teeth, something felt strange, almost like they weren't quite right. But it didn't stop there. In a split second, there was a glimpse of his teeth and tongue that looked unnatural, almost inhuman. It was like something creepy was hiding in him. He quickly covered up, kept his cool, and acted like everything was normal. But once you notice it, it's hard to forget. Bite and bite. Who knew a pizza slice could raise so many questions? At a public event, former President Joe Biden seemed completely normal until one strange moment changed everything. He picked up a slice of pizza, brought it to his mouth, but didn't eat it. Instead, he carefully pulled it back out, untouched, and then pretended like he was chewing, smiling, nodding, as if nothing weird happened. But why fake it? A normal person wouldn't do that. That's why many believe it wasn't really him at all. Maybe a clone, or even a reptilian pretending to be human. Reptilian Katy. It was just a normal interview with Katy Perry, sitting casually, answering questions like any other celebrity. But then came the moment that made viewers shocked. For a split second, her eyes seemed to change. Her pupils narrowed strangely, almost like a reptile's. The clip was later slowed down, and the closer people looked, the weirder it got. No odd lighting, no camera glitch, just eyes that didn't look fully human. Some say it was nothing, just a trick of the lens. But others believe it was something else, a glimpse of what might really be behind the fame. Moving ladder. Some tools just don't stay where you left them. These Chinese workers were on the job doing regular maintenance when something totally bizarre happened. A ladder placed nearby suddenly started moving on its own. It was just slowly sliding toward them, like it had a life of its own. That was the moment they made the smartest decision of the day. They dropped everything and ran, no questions asked. Sometimes work can wait, and so can haunted ladders. Sudden disappearance. When someone's running from the police, their biggest wish is to just disappear somehow. Well, guys, back in 2011, on a Texas highway, that's exactly what happened. A criminal was speeding down the road, trying to escape a police chase. Everything seemed like a normal pursuit, until suddenly, his car turned into a cloud of black smoke and completely vanished. No crash, no trail, no sign of him, just gone. The guy managed to escape the cops, sure, but the real question is, what dimension did he end up in? That part remains unsolved. New apartment ruined.
Excuse me, are you back there again?
First day in a new apartment. Should feel exciting, right? But for this man, it turned into one of the worst feelings ever. While settling in, he suddenly felt off, like someone else was there. Moments later, the tap turned on by itself. He walked in and felt like a strange presence was watching him. As he tried to check, the tap opened again. That's when he knew he wasn't alone. The final proof? A shadow moving in the other room. But when he checked in, no one was there. Now the real question is, should he stay or leave before it's too late?
Everyone can see you in their reflection, bud. And it's gone.
Floating figure. A man was enjoying the calm, foggy weather near a quiet lake. Everything peaceful. But then, something unusual started to form over the water. At first, it looked like more fog rolling in. until it began to take shape. It wasn't just mist, it was a ghostly figure, slowly floating across the surface of the lake. Before he could process what he was seeing, it vanished. Then came another. Same slow movement, same eerie silence. And then that one disappeared too. Till today, no one knows what those floating shapes were. Scary feat. A tourist was on a local train in Switzerland. The box was almost empty. Nothing unusual until he noticed a man sitting across, legs stretched out on the opposite seat. But it wasn't the posture that stood out. It was the feet. They didn't look human. Thick, misshapen, with rough skin. More like something out of a fantasy creature, almost orc-like. The man sat casually, maybe unaware someone was behind him. That one moment became the highlight of the tourist's trip. Something he could never forget. Vanishing cat. At first, it just looked like a regular, cute cat doing its thing, jumping around, playing by the wall. But then came the twist. It casually walked straight through the wall. Not behind it, not around it, through it. For a moment, it completely vanished. And before the confusion could settle, it reappeared the same way, walking back out, calm and playful, like nothing ever happened. These moments are slipping through more often than we realize. Handler behind. 2 mouths, 1 voice, and no delay at all. A congresswoman named Stacy is seen speaking at a podium, but standing directly behind her is a woman whose behavior doesn't match the crowd. Her mouth moves in perfect sync with Stacy's word for word, no delay.
I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview.
Like a shadow speaking at the exact same time. She doesn't blink much. Her face stays oddly stiff. It doesn't look like mimicry. It looks automatic. And when a powerful politician speaks like a puppet, someone else might be pulling the strings.
They would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. They would be misrepresenting what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that.
Mystery hand. A mysterious clip of Pope Francis, supposedly from his final days, has surfaced from an unknown source, and it's got everyone scratching their heads. Pope is seen in a wheelchair, but something's off with his hands. There aren't just 2. There's a third one, clearly visible, and it moves in a way that doesn't feel normal. Some people online claimed this wasn't even the real Pope. They believe the real one passed away long ago. Others think he had some kind of dark power, and that third hand, maybe it wasn't even human. Strange man. At a local clinic's reception, a man stepped up to pay. He pulled out his wallet, and the moment it opened, a small flame shot out. Real fire, burning straight from inside. But he didn't flinch. No shock, no reaction. He simply closed the wallet like nothing happened, skipped the payment, and walked away. The receptionist was confused and a little scared. Whatever that was, it wasn't just some prank. Some people just don't feel like people at all. Ghost clown. Even metro trains aren't safe from strange stuff anymore. In Texas, a local commuter noticed something truly bizarre. Across from him, through the train window, he saw a clown clearly sitting between 2 passengers. But here's the twist. In reality, no one was there. The seat was empty. So where was the clown actually sitting? And why could only he see it? No one knows. But one thing's for sure, that wasn't just a reflection. Reptilian mayor.
And I think that all that that makes it a strike by choice because they're not financial issues.
Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, found himself at the center of a bizarre controversy after a strange moment was caught on camera during a public appearance. As he was speaking, his face seemed to glitch, his eyes flickered, and his features briefly distorted. To many, it was just a camera error, nothing more than a weird frame. But for others, it was something far more unsettling. Could this powerful politician really be a reptilian hybrid, using his position to hide in plain sight? Skin shift. In one of Elon Musk's interviews, everything was going as expected, calm, confident, and typical Elon. But then came a strange moment that lasted less than a second. The skin on the right side of his face seemed to shift, almost like it didn't belong. For that brief second, it looked like someone else was sitting there, wearing Elon's face. But hey, if anyone's going to pull off something this weird, it's Elon. With him, nothing's really off the table. Eye roll.
Disarray, Iraq in disarray, Syria in disarray, all under the tutelage of Hillary Clinton's State Department. So if she's a change maker, yes.
During the 2016 presidential elections, a CNN show was running live when something totally off happened on screen. Political commentator Angela Rye was in the middle of a conversation when she suddenly rolled her eyes in a way that didn't feel normal at all. For a split second, it looked like she got spooked, like something inside her was trying to come out. But just as quickly, she snapped back and everything continued as usual. Still, that one expression said a lot. Something was definitely off. But what exactly? No one really knows.
The other things that he mentioned, her helping with school and adoptive parents and...
Well, that's great. You know, Donald Trump's done great things in private time, too, for veterans, all across his foundation. He's done great things, too. We've all...
Eyes don't lie. Back in 2005, when most people had barely even heard the word reptilian, a strange interview flipped the conversation. A US senator was calmly chatting with the host when suddenly her eyes began to change. Slowly, they started to look reptile-like. It didn't seem like she knew that she was getting exposed. Viewers were stunned. But the biggest twist? The interview vanished. Not long after airing, it was quietly taken down, and today, it's nearly impossible to find. Hidden face. An old interview of Jenna Bush, daughter of former President George W. Bush, once stirred serious controversy. During the talk, her face slowly began to change. Strange marks appeared, and parts of her skin seemed to shift like it was turning reptilian. Even weirder, the interviewer stayed completely calm, as if nothing unusual was happening, almost like it was all planned. I think the moment was a quiet display of reptilian power, and maybe, just maybe, our most powerful families are being used like puppets. Royal glare. It was just a royal polo match until her eye told a different story. Queen Elizabeth II arrived at the Cartier Queen's Cup at Guards Polo Club, looking composed as ever. But something unusual caught everyone's attention. Her left eye was deeply bloodshot, almost glowing red under the sunlight. It wasn't a small detail, it stood out in every photo and every clip. She carried on like nothing was wrong, but that strange eye turned a normal day into something people couldn't stop staring at. Strange eye. Just moments before going on air, something strange happened to the news anchor. Her right eye suddenly started acting up, and it wouldn't open properly, no matter how hard she tried. Her facial expressions didn't match the situation. It wasn't just discomfort. It looked unnatural. Maybe it was just an infection, or she wasn't fully human to begin with. A robot glitching out at the wrong time. Eye reveal. The Gotthard-based tunnel in Switzerland is the world's longest rail tunnel, running deep beneath the Alps. But during its grand opening, something far stranger was caught on camera. A woman was speaking to a reporter about the project when suddenly her eyes began to shift. Slowly, they changed shape and color, turning into something that looked reptilian. She kept talking as if nothing had happened. Whatever she was, it wasn't just a guide. It was something else hiding behind human skin. Reptilian wife. While recording a casual video of his wife just lying on the bed, this man ended up capturing the biggest shock of his life. She didn't even know she was being filmed. Suddenly, a fly came near her, and she stuck her tongue out, long and quick, and ate the fly. Just like that, like a full-on reptile move. For a second, he wondered if he married a lizard in disguise. One fly, one tongue flick, and his whole reality started glitching. Ozzy Unleashed.
Good evening, Ozzy.
What?
Good evening, Ozzy.
Hello there.
How are you?
Fine.
In his 1982 Night Flight interview, Ozzy Osbourne wasted no time creeping everyone out. The second he appeared, his body movements were strange, jerky, twitchy, almost like he wasn't fully in control. His eyes locked onto the interviewer with an eerie stillness, and his voice carried a strange edge, like he was playing a character or letting something else out. Then came the infamous moment he casually talked about biting the head off a bat.
We want to set the record straight. What head did you really bite?
Some guy went at one gig on the last tour, threw a bat on stage, and every night we do a gig, you get all these crazy people that come and throw this junk on stage, and I thought it was one of these rubber bats. I picked it up, and it was a real bat.
Was it alive?
Well, it was till I bit the head of it,
Even describing the taste, salty.
The next thing we want to get
You
out of the way.
can't say anything about that now, can you?
Well, I could, sure. You can say anything you want.
I mean, the taste of bats is very salty.
That wasn't an act. That was Ozzy. Raw and bizarre. Faces WAP event. At a public event in Peru, a strange moment was caught on camera. A woman was hugging a man, talking normally until things took a weird turn. As she stepped back, her face started to shift. She didn't look like the same woman anymore. The man noticed and walked away, clearly terrified. But right after that, the woman's body changed again, this time into an aged man. All of it happened in just 10 seconds. A full-blown shape-shifting glitch right in front of everyone. Silent one. He wasn't talking, but his tongue said enough. During a government official's press conference, a man standing nearby looked out of place. His face had strange features, something slightly off. But the real odd part was his tongue. He kept flicking it out in a slow, unnatural way, just like a reptile. He didn't speak, didn't move much, just stood there. If this really was a reptilian, his presence right beside a high-level official doesn't seem like an accident. That kind of placement feels more planned than random. Mysterious statue. Just like me, you'd probably think this was an old woman sitting quietly, but it wasn't. It was a statue, and not a normal one. Because when a man came to look at it, nothing strange at first, but something felt off. It was like the statue was staring directly at him. He stood there for a moment, unsure. Then came the twist. The statue slowly tilted its head, just a little, but enough to send a clear message. That was the moment he knew something was wrong, and it was time to leave. Match glitch. As I keep researching, I'm starting to realize just how many glitches exist around us, like this one during a live football match. The goalkeeper reaches out to catch the ball, but something strange happens. The ball slips past him, bounces off the pole, and starts heading away. But then, within 1 second, it suddenly came back into his hands, smooth, clean, as if nothing weird happened, and no one notices a thing. If not for the cameras, this would have been missed. Makes you wonder how many other glitches are happening, completely unnoticed. Strange man. Late one night, a man was looking out from his apartment window when something unusual caught his eye. Across from him, in a neighboring apartment that was usually empty, a light was on and someone was there. Curious, he looked closer and saw an old man. But something was wrong. His hands didn't look normal. Only 2 long fingers were visible, almost like they didn't belong to a human at all. Who or what he really saw that night is still a mystery. But one thing's clear, it wasn't just some lonely neighbor. Hidden truth. During an old interview on an Italian news channel, a woman believed to be a local model sat calmly answering questions. At first, everything seemed normal, but on closer look, something felt off. She blinked only once or twice during the entire interview. Her facial expressions, especially around the eyes and forehead, seemed stiff. It didn't feel human, more like a mask, pretending to be one. Back then, no one paid much attention, but now, after rewatching it, many believe she wasn't just a model. She might have been something else entirely. Something reptilian. Vanishing car. At first, it was just a regular snowy day with quiet roads, low visibility. But for one man, the ordinary turned into something straight out of a sci-fi glitch. While driving, he noticed the car ahead of him slowly starting to fade. At first, he thought it was just the snow sticking to his windshield. But when he wiped it clean, the car had completely vanished midway. No turn, no trace, just gone. Maybe the snow wasn't the problem. Maybe that car slipped into somewhere else entirely. Different weather. Ever seen two different kinds of weather at the same time? If not, you need to see this. A group of tourists were vacationing in Switzerland. One morning, everything seemed normal until they looked out the hotel window. Outside, the weather was clear, with bright sunshine. But then came the confusion. One of them glanced at the room mirror, and in the reflection, it was snowing. They checked again. Outside, sunshine. In the mirror, snow. They had no idea what was happening, but we know what it sounds like. Just another glitch in the Matrix revealing itself for a second. Water mystery.
All right, so it's moving.
A vlogger in Canada was recording a beautiful view of the mountains and the lake. Everything looked normal until he noticed something strange. Whenever he moved, the lake water stopped flowing, but when he stood still, the water started moving again. He checked multiple times to make sure it wasn't just his imagination, but no, it happened exactly like that, again and again. Why was it happening? No one knows. All we can say is that lake and its water were hiding something. Something weird.
Wait, when we start moving, it looks like it's still, and then you can tell it's moving again.
Stuck mid-interview.
A few days ago, on the Today Show, Savannah Guthrie and Matt Lauer were talking about an upcoming performance from Lionel Richie. Savannah Guthrie was saying that Lionel Richie takes her back to the days of junior high school dances, and then this happened.
Have you ever seen someone freeze like a paused video? Not act literally glitch into stillness? During a live segment on CNN, Al Roker was standing with his co-hosts, all smiles, when suddenly he just stopped. No blinking, no twitch, not even a breath, just locked in place like someone hit pause on him. The others kept talking, completely unaware that Al looked like he'd been snatched out of reality for a second. A few moments later, he snapped back like nothing happened. But that frozen stare? Way too perfect. If this wasn't a glitch in the Matrix, then what was? Mysterious shadow. What he saw on that mountain didn't match the sky above. In a quiet South African town, a local noticed something unusual near the hills. A strange shadow had spread over a mountain, dark and defined like a cloud was blocking the sun. But when he looked up, the sky was clear, spotless. There were no clouds anywhere. Still, the shadow remained, hovering over that same area for a long time. It was as if something was there, but also not. It didn't make sense. Felt like a classic glitch. Maybe the cloud was real, just not visible in our layer of reality. Strange protection. It was a regular government event, nothing too flashy and the usual tight security. But this time, the real headline wasn't the speeches. It was the men guarding the place. A few figures stood out, tall, bald, and with faces that didn't quite look human. Their features were oddly smooth, their movements too perfect, and their eyes scanned the crowd like machines, dressed like humans. But something felt off, almost otherworldly. And here's the twist. They were there to protect our government. Strange, right? Road glitch. A woman was just heading home when she saw something strange right in the middle of the road. It looked like movement, but coming from inside the road. A few seconds later, her jaw nearly dropped. A squirrel slowly emerged, not from the side, but straight out of the ground, like it had phased through it. No holes or cracks, just straight up surfaced from nowhere. It looked completely normal and casually walked off. But for her, it was clear this was a glitch in the Matrix. Moving glass. This waitress approached a table to pick up plates and glasses from the table like it was just another normal day. But then came an unexpected surprise. One of the glasses suddenly moved on its own. She stared, not trusting what her eyes just saw. Then it moved again, clear, smooth, and with no one touching it. That's when she knew something wasn't right. Most people would have freaked out and left on the spot, but not her. She stayed cool, casually picked up the glass like nothing happened, and walked away. Now that's what you call fearless service. The subscriber pick. During the live announcement of the new pope, a woman filmed something that most people completely missed. At first glance, the crowd looked normal, but when the footage was slowed down, a strange figure appeared. Something translucent, almost ghost-like, seemed to sprint through the crowd at unnatural speed. Some viewers claimed there were 2 of them, and surprisingly, this wasn't the first time. Others said similar figures were seen during the previous Pope's event too. While some were stunned, many weren't even surprised. According to them, when it comes to the Vatican, nothing is ever just what it seems.